Hey, I'm allowed to customize my Whopper, right? Great, so I'll get a Whopper, no tomato, no onion, and no predatory marketing practices. Internet, welcome to Food Theory, where today we're taking a big old bite out of some flame-broiled controversy in the fast food and streaming communities. As I'm sure most of you are aware, Twitch is a live streaming platform that allows streamers to interact directly with their audiences in roughly real time. The audience types comments into the chat, and the live streamer responds on camera. And there are lots of ways for those interactions to happen, with basic chat messages, sending money to the streamer via donation of Twitch bits, and paying to subscribe to the channel for a series of months being the three most common. But there are some other neat tools out there that might not be as well known. One of those is a chat feature called text-to-speech, or TTS, where for a small donation, you can pay to have a computerized voice read your message aloud to the stream for everyone, including the streamer, to hear. Now, as a denizen of the internet, you probably know how well opening up a free platform to have a random comment heard is gonna go, but I'm gonna tell you anyway. TTS donations, sometimes they're pretty much what you would expect them to be.
I'm a creep that want to see woman in bra.
Hey, that's, yeah. Stop. Sorry about that.
And sometimes, just sometimes, text-to-speech donations are just downright wholesome.
Mitty, oh.
You are an absolute ray of sunshine. I love this stream. Have the coffee on me.
Thank you so much, Mitty.
But regardless of the motivation, at the end of the day, TTS donations are intended and typically used as a way for fans to give back to their favorite creators. A tool to help ensure that their comment doesn't just get lost in the chat scroll. And that, my friends, is where today's food theory story begins. You see, this past summer, Burger King, in conjunction with the ad agency David Madrid, realized TTS donations could be used to advertise BK's menu. And so they created a campaign called the King of Stream. In it, they went around to dozens of different Twitch streams and paid the minimum donation, an amount set by each individual streamer, but typically in the range of $3 to $5, to have their comments read via text-to-speech. At which point, the entire audience and the streamers themselves were made aware of all the great deals that Burger King's menu has to offer.
Hi there.
Hey.
I just donated $5 to tell you that you can spend $5 and get a Whopper.
What is going on?
In the end, the King of Stream campaign reached a large audience on a shoestring budget and was seen as a success. How do we know that? Because Burger King's ad agency took the footage of all these interactions and made a best of compilation proudly explaining what they did. And, you know, did that without licensing anyone's names, likenesses, voices, hence all the blurring and distortion that you see. They never used the word Twitch anywhere in the ad, opting instead for the more general term live streaming platform and the blatant use of Twitch's purple and white style. Heck, they even replaced the game footage from the original streams with Shutterstock footage of generic video games since they didn't want to license that stuff either. Gotta love all those racing games with speed racing, and faster and faster and faster and faster on all the road signs you pass.
I have donated $5 so I can say that on the Burger King app you can get a Whopper.
Are you gonna sponsor me or not?
That exchange right there says it all. Are you gonna sponsor me or what? To which Burger King replies, we just gave you $5. See, in the wake of this campaign, two camps have emerged. Team Marketing, who believes that there's nothing wrong with how Burger King did this.
Like, it's a 200 IQ play. Brands should have been doing this a long time ago. Hats off to Burger King. I'm gonna go buy a Whopper after this.
And Team Streamer, who believes that the campaign was a scummy way for $1 billion corporation to hawk their chicken nuggets for a fraction of what it should have really cost them.
The fact that Burger King has figured out how to do sponsorships for pocket change by abusing a system meant for fan interaction with no prior consent from the streamers has understandably pissed off pretty much every streamer on Twitch.
And while it's certainly true that a lot of streamers were speaking out against the King of Stream campaign,
Where's my ad read? You owe me royalties for that. You took up 30 seconds of my stream.
some went even further to question whether this move by Burger King went beyond mere etiquette breach and went full on into illegal territory by violating Federal Trade Commission or FTC guidelines.
I woke up this morning, I had emails from BBC, Kotaku to name a few. My statement is that, like, if this is legit, it's an FTC violation, and they should not have been doing it because it puts us in a position where we are airing undisclosed ads.
So who's right and who's wrong here, friends? Is this whole fiasco a complete nothing burger, or is it totally a something burger? Did Burger King indeed pull off a 200 IQ move that'll have him laughing all the way to the bank, or will Team Streamer ultimately get the last laugh, possibly in a court of law? And that, dear theorists, is what we'll be answering today. Now, before I get into the hairy gray area of whether or not this was some form of illegal promotion, one thing that's undeniable here is that the King of Stream campaign was a clear violation of terms of service. One of Team Marketing's arguments in this whole debate has been that if streamers weren't happy with the messages Burger King was reading off, well, they could always, disable all text-to-speech donations. Except that sort of logic doesn't fly here. Burger King was, knowingly or not, misusing the tools available to them. Twitch's terms of service lists unsolicited advertising, promotional materials, or other solicitation material as prohibited behavior. But perhaps even more importantly, Burger King appears to have violated the terms of service for the third-party live streaming software that actually handles the donations and provides the text-to-speech feature to begin with. See, Twitch is just the platform. It doesn't provide its users with those kinds of fancy bells and whistles. In order to accept donations, a Twitch streamer has to utilize live streaming software such as Streamlabs, which is distinct from Twitch and comes with its own separate terms of service. And it appears that the King of Stream campaign violated Streamlabs' terms of service in a whole bunch of ways too. Quote from those, using the site for commercial or promotional purposes is listed under prohibited conduct, as is displaying an unauthorized commercial advertisement, as is attempting to post messages or advertisements with a commercial purpose. Furthermore, the terms of service specify commercial activities and or sales without prior written consent from Streamlabs as prohibited content. I mean, it really doesn't get a whole lot more clear-cut than that. From both Twitch's perspective and from Streamlabs' perspective, the Burger King posts were in clear breach of TOS. Always have been. Now, of course, violating the terms of service doesn't mean that BK broke the law. Sure, from an ethics and PR standpoint, not a good look. But on the other hand, so what? Not to go all nihilist pat on ya, but what's Twitch or Streamlabs gonna do to punish them? Delete the account? From the looks of things, Burger King may have already removed the King of Stream US account themselves. They got the footage they needed, they got the word out about BK's apps and menu deals. At this point, they've already extracted everything they need out of the Twitch community. Time to cash out. Basically, they pulled a ninja. So Team Streamer can take comfort in the moral victory if they like, but the bigger issue, and the one with a lot more ramifications, is whether this ad campaign was illegal for anyone that touched it. And that's not an easy one to answer, because the King of Stream basically introduced the world to an entirely new type of advertising. Like, what do you call this type of ad? To date, only a couple of companies have tried anything like the King of Stream campaign on Twitch, most notably Cash App, who managed to do it without ticking Twitch streamers off too much because A, Cash App actually creates Twitch content, and B, they didn't just use the absolute minimum donation the way that Burger King did.
I would say very different, in my opinion, from what Cash App does. Usually gifting subs to streamers out there, there is no message with gifted subs. There's no automatic reading out of what Cash App does. By the way, I've never seen Cash App ever just gift one sub. Typically gifting, I would say 10, 20, 25 subs at the bare minimum, which is much more than a measly $5 donation.
Anyway, since the practice is so new, it'd be helpful to have a definition on hand. Do corporate text-to-speech donations qualify as sponsorships? Are they advertisements? Are they something else entirely? How is this thing that BK created viewed in the eyes of the law? Now, the term sponsorship implies a relationship between the two parties in question, so I'm gonna go ahead and say that an unexpected text-to-speech donation from a corporate donor does not qualify as sponsorship, contrary to what many of the streamers might feel out there. See, an important difference between an advertisement and a sponsorship is that an ad doesn't really imply any sort of endorsement on the part of the creator. As a YouTube partner, for instance, I have a lot of control about where ads appear in my videos, but I have far less control when it comes to which advertisers choose to run those ads. And in my experience, the audience tends to get this. You, lovely viewers at home, understand that just because an ad for the Church of Yelling at Puppies happened to play on my channel before a video, that doesn't mean I support or even have any sort of opinion about the Church of Yelling at Puppies. However, if I were to announce that an episode had been sponsored by the Church of Yelling at Puppies, well, then I'd have to believe I'd get a lot of rough feedback from the fans, and I deserve it, because I actively chose that sponsorship, as opposed to the pre-roll ad where it was just kind of thrust upon me. Now, watching the reactions that the BK donations got, it's clear that the streamers were unaware of what was going on.
I just got a donation that was using the text of like an advert. I am so confused.
And because the streamer and Burger King had no agreement or business relationship to speak of, streamers are under absolutely no obligation to endorse Burger King's products. Any streamer who receives a TTS donation is free to do what Twitch streamer Rubber Ninja did. Tell Burger King to its face that he was going to use the donation to buy an actual meal, then take to social media and call the campaign, quote, scummy as heck, and then double the donations that he got and donate them to the Ronald McDonald House. That is some galaxy brain action going on right there.
Fast food in the US ain't good. It's not as good. It's disappointing. You know, with all this fast food money, I could go out and buy an actual meal.
Surprise, surprise, Rubber Ninja's footage didn't make it into the Burger King compilation for some reason. No, very clearly the king of stream donations are closest to a traditional ad. As Bloom Ads puts it, quote, advertising implies that a payment has been made to place an ad with specific messaging, and Burger King explicitly does that with its TTS messages. And from that perspective, things start to look very differently. Because now you're not comparing those $5 donations to $1,000 sponsorship deals. That's comparing apples to very expensive oranges. It seems more accurate to compare Burger King's TTS donation advertisements to mid-roll advertisements. Because let's face it, they're both ads and they both play in the middle of the stream. I mean, sure, streamers get to select when their mid-roll ads play as opposed to getting blindsided by an ad whenever the sponsor decides the time is right, but given that Twitch recently began experimenting with mid-roll ads that are platform controlled, aka the streamers don't get to choose when they play, the difference between TTS donation ads and mid-roll ads is becoming foggy to say the least. So toss a couple more similarities onto that list. Both types of ads interrupt streams at inconvenient times, and streamers aren't happy about either of them. And when looked at from that perspective, the $5 donations look much less egregious. I can't speak to the current rates of Twitch mid-roll ads, but on YouTube, for ad revenue, the amount that you earn per 1,000 views is lucky to get over $5. It's only something that happens for like the top tier channels at some of the peak times a year, especially when you're talking about gaming videos. So depending on how many viewers each of these streamers had when the TTS donations came in, they may have made more from that donation, or at the very least from that series of donations, than they would have from a similar mid-roll ad running in the same place. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's an involuntary mid-roll. No one wanted it to be placed there, but is it all that different from the new policies that Twitch just put in place? So, is that it? Is Burger King right to say just take the $5 and be happy with it, like they said in the ad? Because I don't know about you, but something still feels wrong about that. If I'm a streamer and I don't want mid-roll ads, I just turn them off easy. All my funding can be fan funding. There are plenty of channels who don't want to accept advertising dollars and do that. But with text-to-speech donations, it's tricky. Sure, I could turn those off too to prevent Burger King from misusing them, but the tool was intended to be used for community engagement, not as an advertising platform. What Burger King did was insert a spam message into the middle of the stream. And it's that breach of terms of service that I keep going back to here. At its core, the King of Stream campaign misused community engagement tools to broadcast their message in the middle of an ongoing piece of content, regardless of whether that came with a price tag. It is literally hijacking the stream using tools meant for other purposes, which you know is pretty similar to the definition of what's known as broadcast signal intrusion. You see, it doesn't happen too often, but starting back in the 1970s and occurring even as recently as 2017, you have occasional incidents where TV, radio, or satellite signals get hijacked by people looking to pull a prank or send some sort of message. In 1987, the Playboy channel was hijacked with a religious message, "Repent, the kingdom of heaven is at hand." In 1986, HBO's satellite feed was interrupted by a man calling himself Captain Midnight, which, funny enough, is also the name of one of my favorite film analysis channels here on YouTube. Shoutouts to him. Anyway, the hijacking was done by a guy who was frustrated by his declining satellite TV business at the hands of HBO. But perhaps the most iconic signal intrusion example was the Max Headroom incident, when a man wearing a rubber mask of a popular 80s character Max Headroom took over the signals of 2 television stations in Chicago to ramble incoherently, get himself spanked, and recite Coca-Cola's catchphrase of the time, "Catch the wave."
Catch the wave. Coke.
In each of these cases, simple broadcasting tools were misused to interrupt an ongoing piece of content with an unwanted message, in a way that seems very similar to the King of Stream. So is this sort of practice illegal? Yes, but not in the way that you'd expect. We're not concerned about the FTC anymore, we're instead focused on the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission. Because these sorts of attacks were so new at the time, laws didn't really exist to punish them. Captain Midnight, after his hijacking hijacking of HBO, was charged with the crime transmitting without a radio license, because it was really the only thing they could get him for. And even that really didn't apply because the transmitter he used had a license. Anyway, it ultimately netted him a $5,000 fee and a year probation, but it prompted the FCC to update its policies and create a new code that made such disruptions a felony. Does that then mean that the King of Stream is an illegal felony? No, because once again, just like those early hijackings, we're dealing with a technology gap. The new laws in place around broadcast interference are specifically around interfering with satellite feeds. There's nothing from what I can find covering interruption of an internet-based streaming broadcast. The TLDR here, was King of Stream a bad look? Yes. Was it illegal? No. At least not until the laws catch up with the way that modern entertainment and advertising happens. And considering the fact that the government's still trying to figure out how to log into their Hotmail, I think we have a couple years before they get around to Twitch text-to-speech donations. What is a Twitch, guys? So it would seem then that the cavalry is not coming to save Team Streamer. Even if Twitch and or Streamlabs manage to slap Burger King on the wrist for terms of service violations, there won't be any real repercussions for corporations who spam, advertise via text-to-speech donations. At least not until the law can catch up with the times. So what is a streamer to do? How do you fight back without the law or technology to help? Well, here's a theory. Streamers do have one very powerful tool available to them: shame. Shame is how Team Stream wins the war. Think about it. The Twitch community has managed to keep spam from individuals and self-promotion to a dull roar up to this point. How? By self-enforcing the rule. You don't use someone else's stream to promote your own. It is literally in the don't column of official Twitch etiquette, and Twitch users are typically quick to call out those who violate the etiquette. So get this, you can treat massive corporations promoting burgers the exact way you'd treat a 12-year-old promoting his lit Fortnite streams. You don't engage, you report it, or you just shame them on social media until the behavior stops. Just because a person or company donates money to your channel does not mean that you're under any obligation to thank them, engage with them, or even be polite. I know that last one is gonna be tough for all you Canadian streamers out there. Look, if a company honestly believes that they're better off without a signed sponsorship agreement, then streamers have every right to show them why they're wrong. If a streamer believes that a text-to-speech donation breaks with etiquette, they should say so and make noise about it. Heck, it's kind of the reason I made this video in the first place, because the legal battle may not be winnable for some time, but the PR battle is winnable right now. But hey, that's just a theory. A food theory. Bon appetit.